Hi kids, this is Mr. Barr coming to you from my garage, which is a place where I kind of like to social distance away from my wife and from the dogs. It's kind of like my man cave. So this time not being at school, it's given me a chance to spend more time with my family, not just my wife, but also my in-laws and also my nephew. Most of you know that I don't have children of my own, which over the years I've come to think of students, both kids that I've taught, 12, 14 years ago, and also students I teach now, kind of like extended members of my family. I've taught kids who are teachers now themselves, which is super cool. And it's one of the most rewarding parts of being a teacher, is to see all of you grow up and go on to lead your best life. So I've gotten to experience some of that joy though, even though I don't have my own kids. Here, I'll show you some pictures. I have a nephew. So this is him and I, us drawing. Here he is. My wife captured a cute picture of us where he's showing affection to me, which it's fun. I really like hanging out with him. So all this stuff, when you have a lot of time, your mind starts to wander and you start to think. So I want to share a poem with you. It's a poem that I actually have read in high school, and it's kind of always just stuck with me. The name of the poem is A Psalm of Life, and I've always really liked this poem because of how passionate the speaker in the poem is about life. In the poem, the poet has a message that you have to live your life, that you have to be a hero in difficult times, that you got to let things go. And throughout it uses a bunch of exclamation marks to show exactly how passionate he is. It ends with an image that I like and I want us to think about, and I'll talk a little bit more about it, that you got to leave footprints in the sands of time. It's an interesting metaphor that we'll think about. To help a quote, forlorn and shipwrecked brother. So that you're supposed to picture someone who is on a ship and stranded and lost and don't know what to do next, to take heart again. So I'm gonna read the poem to you, and we'll go through it together. A Psalm of Life by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. There's a subtitle there. It says, What the Heart of the Young Man Said to the Psalmist. So a psalm is just a song of praise. Tell me not in mournful numbers, life is but an empty dream. For the soul is dead that slumbers, and things are not what they seem. Life is real, life is earnest, and the grave is not its goal. Dust thou art to dust returnest was not spoken of the soul. Not enjoyment and not sorrow is our destined end or way, but to act that each tomorrow finds us further than today. Art is long and time is fleeting, and our hearts, though stout and brave, still, like muffled drums, are beating funeral marches to the grave. In the world's broad field of battle, in the bivouac of life, be not like dumb-driven cattle. Be a hero in the strife. Trust no future, however pleasant. Let the dead past bury its dead. Act in the living present, heart within and God o'erhead. Lives of great men all remind us we can make our lives sublime, and departing, leave behind us footprints on the sands of time. Footprints that perhaps another, sailing o'er life's solemn main, a forlorn and shipwrecked brother, seeing, shall take heart again. Let us then be up and doing with a heart for any fate, still achieving, still pursuing, learn to labor and to wait. So, this poem, I happen to really like it for a lot of reasons. I'm going to go back to the top here. So, the title of the poem is Psalm of Life. The psalm is a song of praise. It's also the name of a book in the Bible. So looking at the first stanza, you see the first 4 lines, we have a rhyme scheme there of A, B, A, B. When you have a stanza with 4 lines, we talked a lot about that. We call that a quatrain. We have a passionate speaker saying, "Don't tell me my life is an empty dream. It has a purpose. If someone's slumbering, aka asleep, they're missing the purpose of their life." In stanza 2, the speaker is clear. Life is real. And there's more to living than dying. So our purpose in having a life isn't just to die. We've got a lot to do in our life. All right, our goal shouldn't just be to look forward to when we're dying. Stanza 3, we aren't just here for enjoyment or just to be sad. We're here to make each day the best we can to have a bright future. Stanza 4, time passes, even though we are all brave, we all will die, all right? So even though we're brave and we're trying our best, we do have to be aware that we have a limited time, all right? In stanza 5, there's a metaphor there, a broad field of battle. So every day is kind of like a battle, all right? But the battle is to lead your best life. It's to not necessarily follow everyone else, not to be like cattle where we're just going along. And if you picture a bunch of cows in a field, they're all kind of congregating or grouped together. We shouldn't be like that. We should be fighting to live our best life. Stanza 6. So I kind of like this stanza. Let's see. Stanza 6. Like Elsa said, let the past go, all right? Where it says, let the dead past bury its dead. In other words, let the past go. Act now to make your life better. And then stanza 7, like what I talked about earlier, is this image of footprints in the sand, on the sands of time. Great men leave examples in the footprints in the sands of time. In other words, they're examples for people to follow us who need examples. So going back to my nephew, I want to be a good example for him to grow up and be successful. Kids that I've taught who are teachers themselves, I'd like to think that I've been a good example for them to follow in some way. My question for you to think about is, who can you leave footprints on the sands of time for? Who will one day look up to you for direction and guidance when they need it? All right, so with that, there's a couple questions to answer in Google Classroom about the poem. All right, talk to you later.